David, Scott, gentlemen. Hey, congratulations for Montana Story.
Well, thank you very much, Gig. Nice to meet you.
I love your name. You never hear Gig anymore as a name. It's great.
Trying to bring it back, but that's all right. So tell me, gentlemen, where the original story came from for Montana Story?
From Scott's brain. No,
What?
no, we were locked down trying to make another. We were about to go into prep on another movie, and as we got locked down and the months dragged on, and we realized we weren't going to be able to do that other film, we just started thinking a lot about what was going on around us, politically, socially, whatnot. And the germ of the idea was a brother and sister returning to a place that they'd grown up, who were estranged, and it kind of grew from there.
David brought in the idea. I mean, we were on separate phones in our own, shelters in place at the time. Like we were just talking on the phone. But David brought the idea of a moment of courage. Like, what about like let's look at a moment of courage, and what if you make the wrong choice? And
how do you how do you deal with not taking that moment of courage that presents itself to you? And that's what Cal has to live with, or what he's been living with these past 7 years is, as he says in the film, I didn't do what I should have done. And, and now, and I can't unring the bell.
And then I think Mike, another collaborator of ours who we were working on the story with, I think he brought Montana to the table. We were looking at places where we could shoot a film that seemed to have low COVID numbers at the time, where we could tell a big open story about just a few people, because that seemed like the project. And we just started Googling Montana on our laptops. We'd never been there. And the story just kind of evolved from that stew of things, like those characters and that kind of kernel of an idea, and just what we were learning about Montana just all kind of, fed into the fastest writing process we've ever been through together. We wrote the whole script in a matter of weeks. And, I think we started writing in July and we started scouting in September.
So how did you end up finding that Montana ranch, and was cell phone reception really bad out there?
It was bad.
Cell phone reception was actually bad in Montana. They all make a joke about it, but we kind of knew that.
From Google.
We hired a local scout and went out there for a preliminary 5 days in September. And, like many other things with this movie, decisions had to be made on a timeline. There was no not choosing that ranch after those 5 days. And we probably saw 8 or 10 ranches. And, we'd seen photographs of them beforehand. And the ranch that we chose actually was the very first ranch that we saw. And it lined up so magically with what we had written in terms of the flow of the characters and the way things had to work in terms of sight lines, that it was great. And the family who owns that ranch, Andy and Karen O'Hare, were so welcoming to us and offered us so much help in coordination and use of other facilities on the ranch. And, and they're really true ranchers. They work that land, and they're in their 70s, I believe. And could just, can't thank them enough.
It was funny. Afterwards, I was talking to our key grip, who's a Montana guy. His name's Michael Jazak. And I looked back in their emails. The first photographs we got of that ranch had been been photographed by Michael, and we didn't know his name at the time, so that didn't mean anything to me. But like in hindsight, I was like, oh, Michael, our key grip, sent us the pictures of the ranch a month before we ever saw it. And I was talking to him about it, and he said, yeah, I knew you were going to shoot there. He's like, I heard you were looking at other ranches. I said, why are they wasting their time? They're going to shoot at the O'Hare Ranch. And I guess Montanans know. He said, I read your script. I knew where it was going to take place.
Terrific, gentlemen. Well, hey, thank you for carrying this conversation about Montana Story. And Haley Lou wanted me to relay, don't forget to call her about the truck.
Okay. All right. Well,
thank you.
Thank you, Gage. It's a pleasure talking.